Good morning. Elle Ingalls here at pressure-free.com. We're live on Facebook. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're here live and if you're watching the replay, I appreciate you. For those of you who are new to this, I am Elle Ingalls. I'm the creator of the pressure-free method. That's an on-the-go stress management method that you can use in any situation, anytime throughout your day to prevent the release of stress hormones. Never thought I'd be talking about hormones a lot, but I do. Um, and when I consider, I've done some really deep thinking over the past few months on kind of what's the first path or pass when thinking about what might cause us to release these hormones. And a phrase just kept coming up to me over the past few months. It's control the controllables. Like, what can we control? And you'll hear this quite a bit, like we can control our reaction, but some people will say, I can't control my reaction. And several people that I know definitely have very strong reactions to current events, to things going on in the news. And the more polarized this country becomes, it becomes more prevalent for sure. So I've been deeply thinking about that. Like, what is an appropriate response? And what is it that we can control? So we're going to take a stab at this, and I hope this is helpful to you, especially if you notice that you do overreact or you react strongly, I'll use those words, to things happening in the news, to things that you're seeing happening around the world, around the country, things that upset you, um, or in conversations with people too that have different viewpoints than you do. So the first thing I want to share with you is that no matter what is happening, the most important thing, especially for my clients, is that they stay healthy, mentally and physically healthy. And any release of this overabundance of stress hormones is going to affect that health. It's going to affect your heart. It's going to affect every single body process. You could lose your hair. People are losing their hair over things that are happening in current events right now. So health to me is the very bottom line, because if you're not healthy, if you can't think rationally, and if you aren't protecting your own personal health, um, there's very little you'll be able to do if you want to take action for any of these things that are concerning you. I had a coach once who said, and this was a business coach, so these are she's coaching people who want to make a lot of money, okay? And she said, if you're taking up time worrying about things in politics, worrying about things happening that are out of your control, if you want to really do something, become very wealthy so you can change the picture. She's very insistent about this, but I dissected the message and I thought it's getting back to that idea of if we can't control it, any overreaction is only harming us. It's hurting us. So with that in mind, what can we control? Uh, my husband and I stopped watching the evening news in 1993. It was just it just happened because we moved into our home. We had been renting a home and the television was way over in a corner. So we just didn't turn it on and watch the news anymore. We were actually having dinner together and talking. Fancy that. So when that occurred, when that went down, I didn't see evening news until 2005, Katrina. My mother-in-law was watching it nonstop, and we were visiting her over Labor Day weekend. So she had the news on, and I said, this can't be the news. It's like Entertainment Tonight. Like, what is this? Like, the same images is coming over and over and over and over. And I'm like, you've already seen that. Like, why are you watching it again? Right? Anderson Cooper saying the same thing over and over. I was stunned, really. And I thought, okay, this is certainly not the news I grew up with. And it was very sensationalized. And having now watched a program about Katrina, like going really deep on it, it's like, wow, so much was missed. But the sensational part was blasted at us 24/7. Watch the news 24/7 now. So things have definitely changed, and the media wants our attention. If we're triggered while we watch these programs and ads come on, we will buy because we don't have willpower to say no to things. You'll find yourself overeating. You'll find yourself, wanting to, what is it? Uber Eats or whatever. Just get food in the house that you already have food in the house, but like you'll get extra food in the house. Like you have no willpower to say no to some things. You're in a state where you can be convinced of things too that might not be what you would be convinced of if you retained your cognitive functioning. So the media loves it when we stay triggered. And so do political parties. We can be manipulated very easily. So with that in mind, if health is the first thing, the second thing to me is rational thought. That um, I can't be persuaded. If you read a lot of sales literature, they'll talk about the fact that people make emotional decisions. Well, that's because they're triggered. But a person who's retaining their cognitive function doesn't make an irrational decision or an emotional decision. They make a cognitively thought out decision. It's very different. I can attest to this, having changed so much because of using my method on myself. So preventing overreaction, so key. How you get your news, you may choose to just get it in a written form or listen instead of watch, because those images repeating are creating loops for you that maybe you can't sleep. Maybe you're having trouble sleeping after watching the news at night. So choose how you're going to get your news. That's a controllable. You can choose how you get your news, how you learn about things. Still images versus moving images. Um, and again, this is really to protect you. That's my initial concern, is that you stay healthy, because if you're not healthy, then everything changes. So control the controllables. How you get your news. When you do take the news in, prepare yourself first. So if you're tense already, or you've had a stressful day, you're already in fight or flight. So now you're going to trigger again and again and again, because you don't have a filter. You don't have the lens to say, oh, I can't control this. I'm not going to react to this. You won't have that. Like, you'll just keep overreacting. And now stress is chronic. Okay. So prepare yourself ahead of time. Maybe do some exercise and take a walk. When you sit down to watch, or stand to watch, or however you're doing it, relax your belly. Relax your belly. Keep your lower abs very relaxed so that you feel safe, because some of the images you're seeing, you might not feel safe. And so you want to build safety within your body as you take in this information, so you can process this information. Does that make sense? So prepare yourself that way. Now, if you want to take action, get very specific about what kind of action you want to take. Do you want to write to a congressperson? Do you want to participate in something? What are those things? And then evaluate, is that the best use of my time? Like, this is your life, right? I think so much of our lives are our brain space is taken up in things that we can't control. And therefore we're missing out on what we can control, and how to host a town hall, have people talk, right? Like, I mean, there's so many little things you could do. I grew up in New Hampshire, where it was, live free or die, but we knew people who were representing us. It's the third largest governing body in the world. Like, we knew people representing us. There was just a really different way of thinking about politics, and maybe that's because I also grew up in the capital. But um, it was interesting how it was like calm debate, people talking rationally. I can't remember ever. My parents had people over all the time, especially in the summer, and they'd be talking about these issues, and I never saw like a combatant thing, or I never saw that. And they were talking about, they were on, you might say, different sides of the aisle. It didn't matter. So controlling our emotional response makes us far more powerful to actually create action if that's what you wish to do. Um, what else can I share with you here about the news? Just noticing, if you can look at the news through the lens of assessing it, how it's coming to you, what the voices of the people delivering the news sound like. Are these true assessments, or what's really going on? Like if you can really look at it unemotionally, that's interesting too. You might see things that you missed before. So I see, in fact, I did a study once at a conference, and the evening news was one of the top three stressors. I asked people, what stresses you out the most? And it was the evening news was there. It's like money, health, evening news, adult children, tiny children, family issues. Um, so yeah, it's kind of interesting, but news was it was number three. And that also might be a reason that you're not having a good night's sleep. If you watch that evening news and trigger the stress response, you might fall asleep, but at 2 or 3 a.m., you might be wide awake. And that's because the second flood of hormones has gone out. And that includes your wake-up drug. Cortisol is a little wake-up drug. So you'll be all jacked up on adrenaline while you're watching the news, and then you'll go into a slump, you'll fall asleep, and then here comes the cortisol to wake you up. I have a little theory about that too. Like if we went back thousands of years and we're stuck in a cave and the tiger's walking outside the entrance of the cave, we can't get out, or we're, trying to protect ourselves, we can only sleep a little bit and someone's got to wake up. Someone's got to guard. So there will always be someone waking up and guarding because of these floods of hormones. It's pretty interesting to think about and look at. So control the controllables. That's going to be what we talk about this week. And I certainly think that current events and the news, how we absorb current events around the globe, around our country, and just checking to see, am I emotionally overreacting? Am I releasing stress hormones? Is that why I'm even reacting even more? And can we protect ourselves first? Relax the belly, relax the lower abs so you feel safe. Take in the information without overreacting, without releasing those hormones. Be able to assess, and if you want to take some action on something, you can create your action plan. But your health is worth far more than any piece of news, anything happening that, especially the things that we cannot control. You can control your response. And the fastest way I know that is to interrupt the stress response. If you can interrupt the stress response in that 10-second window, then you can choose your response to things and you can assess information so much better. So I wish you a great pressure-free day. Bye.